There is a shadow that lives in the mind, one that speaks with cleverness, calculates every move, and fears only one thing, being wrong. Ever catch yourself obsessing over the small stuff, details, facts, getting everything just right, only to end up overwhelmed, misunderstood, or burned out? What if I told you this hyperfocus isn't actually making you smart, it's making you stuck? Welcome to the 60-second evolutionary pattern of change and its shadow of intellect, also known as the stupidity of being clever. Today, we're going to explore how to shift from mental overload to heart-based precision, and I promise it's not what you think. I will first start with a parable called the Garden of Pages. At this point, please close your eyes and visualize the story I am about to share. In a city of shimmering domes and echoing libraries lived a boy named Ryan. Ryan was born into a family of scholars, his crib carved with symbols, his lullabies recited from memory, not melody. The walls of his home whispered knowledge, they did not sing. By the age of 7, Ryan could recite the names of every star in the visible sky. At 10, he could predict the outcomes of most political debates before they occurred. And by 13, he had forgotten how to cry. He was celebrated, yes, rewarded for being correct. But Ryan grew hollow. Every moment was weighed, calculated, organized. He lived not through feeling, but through formula. One day, walking the outer gardens of a grand archive, Ryan found a young girl sitting alone. She was humming, not a song of words, just sound, just heart. "What are you doing?" Ryan asked. "That's nonsense." She smiled. "I'm learning the flower's name." "That flower has no name in the records," he replied. "Then your records must be very quiet," she said, "because I hear it perfectly." Ryan scoffed. But days later, he returned, again and again, sitting in the silence beside her, listening, until one morning, without knowing why, he wept, not from sadness, but from recognition. For the first time, Ryan felt truth, and it had nothing to do with being right. The 60-second evolutionary pattern of change challenges us with what some call the stupidity of being clever. We've evolved into creatures obsessed with facts, with data, with order, and yet, for all our intelligence, we are spiritually starved. Because the intellect was never meant to lead, it was meant to serve the heart. In this specific challenge of evolution, we meet the fear of being wrong, a fear so deep it locks our creativity, our spontaneity, and our ability to connect with mystery. We become obsessive thinkers, over-analyzing every detail, or pedantic attackers, correcting others to avoid our own inner shame. This is the duality of the shadow, retreating into silence or lashing out in noise. The companion shadow to intellect is the shadow of psychosis and its fear of mental instability. Its repressive nature is disenchanted and its reactive nature is fanatical. So you can see how the shadow of psychosis and the shadow of intellect work together to keep us locked in the mind and away from connecting and listening to our heart, the discernment and wisdom within there, and the knowing in our gut of what's really right for us versus what really just constricts our ability to create harmonious connections with others. For those interested in doing deeper personal alchemy and wish to have a means of accelerating an understanding of shadow work, over the last 3 to 5 years, I have collected a wealth of information from various esoteric systems, namely the I Ching, human design, gene keys, the chakra systems, and astrology, as well as integrating them with the human genetic code. And in this chart, you will find the details of all the different shadows, all the different fears, the specific fears that fuel those specific shadows, all 64, all in relationship to each codon. And in this wheel, you will find four legends on each corner because they can't all fit on one corner or one side to make it a nice, evenly balanced square. So here is the statements from each zodiac sign. So you can see. And then we have the legend for each chakra. You'll notice that there are more than seven, and because there are more than seven, because it is including the spleen as a means to detect threats. So there's an intuitional center there. There's also a center of willpower called the thyroid, because when we are born, the thyroid is literally almost, if not as big as our heart. So we have to accommodate that. And on the other side of this, you will also find an understanding of the I Ching, hexagram system, the different trigrams, the relationship to the three-dimensional plane, the yin and the yang, and how each of the six lines are affiliated with different archetypes, thanks to the human design and or gene key system. And lastly, you will also find the human genetic sequence chart for all the amino acids associated with the human genetic code. But furthermore, you will also find in this chart all the different zodiacs, all 12, mixed with the human design gene key chart. Bear with me, my graphics card is not as fast as other people's on their computer, but you will see all the different fears, all the different shadows, and how they relate to each chakra in those colorful little dots. So you can see how it affects each energy center in the body and how each of them have their own repressive and reactive statements because there are six expressions in each challenge. Therefore, you will also find those six lines in there, all with their own repressive and reactive statements, their associated dilemmas from that specific shadow, which eventually will clear up, the gift from making the right choices regularly and practicing that gift with its own unique self-empowerment statement. So as you learn to vacate the trapped emotions such as sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt, and you will reorient towards true self-alignment and honoring the intuition and inner authority that you possess, it will lead you towards the grace specific to that challenge. So if you would like to learn more about this and or you would like to download this file for your own personal means of translating your specific challenges in the human design system or in the gene key system, it is all there for you. All you have to go is to my website and download this PDF file. It's about 50 megabytes in size. I hope you enjoy this and hope you enjoy this brief glimpse into this massive PDF with all the details about all the specific challenges you'll have in your personal self-realization path. In order to find this PDF, a link will be found down below in the description of the YouTube video. When using that elaborate and vast chart of information, you can use the human design apps found in the App Store on Google Play so that you can choose whichever speaks to you most. And as you choose whichever human design app works best for you, you can then use that towards the chart. So you get your information and your numbers. And then after that, you can use the chart as reference. For example, I use the human design app, which helps me see the specific numbers that I need to see in the top right-hand corner. The red are the unconscious. These are the ones that were imprinted when the soul decided to remain anchored in the body about 90 days before you were born, between the second and the third trimester. The black numbers indicate the conscious, more aware challenges that you know you have in your current life, based on your survival challenges and your adversities currently going on in your life. You can also find that same application in the Human Design App Store for iPhone and or iOS before you start using the chart that you have purchased online. Thank you very much. And if you ever need more information on this and you wanted a free consultation in understanding the current challenges in your life and how it relates to human design, feel free to reach out through the links below. You can also visit thegenekeys.com. There, you will also find a different kind of chart. It relates to the same challenges and same numerical sequences as found in the I Ching and Human Design. And there you'll be able to find a free profile link where you can then enter in your personal information in this field and then have a look at your specific gene key profiles and understand your genus sequence, your Venus sequence in opening up your heart, your love sequence, prosperity, and finding inner harmony. Thank you for watching this short introduction into the Wheel of Evolutionary Change and the chart that I've shown you in brief. And hopefully through those apps and through this PDF, you will find a way to decode the challenges you face and understand how to make the best choices for you and everyone you are meant to impact positively in your life. Now back to the shadow work and the evolutionary change in this video. Now back to the shadow of intellect. But why would such a shadow exist? Because this fear is part of our evolution. Physically, the development of language and logic helped our species survive. We tamed nature with measurement, crafted tools through precision, and navigated complexity by separating facts from fiction. But our spiritual ascension is not built through intellect. It is built through integration. The shadow exists to show us what happens when the mind tries to control what only the soul understands. It's not that intellect is the enemy. It's simply not meant to replace intimacy, insight, or intuition. In the ancient world, precision was a virtue, not of logic, but of ritual. Doing things with care, not just correctness. The 60-second challenge presents the dilemma of facts. Facts are useful. They support our perspective. They build civilizations. But truth transcends facts. Truth speaks in silence. Truth comes in moments of awe, not argument. And so many of us in this age of information are drowning in facts and starving for meaning. We check the data, we question each other, we distrust what cannot be measured. And in doing so, we disconnect from the very essence of what makes us human. The 60-second evolutionary pattern of change, if understood, not conquered, becomes a gift of precision, not obsessive detail, but elegant discernment, the ability to say exactly what's needed, no more, no less. And beyond that, through patience and surrender, this specific challenge blooms into impeccability, not perfectionism, but grace in the cracks. The Japanese call it kintsugi, the art of filling broken pottery with gold, not hiding the fracture, but honoring it. The same is true for our minds. When we stop using intellect to escape and start using it to express with clarity and compassion, we remember our wholeness. So remember, we aren't here to always be right. We are here to be true. So let your cleverness soften. Let your thoughts become offerings, not armor. And trust that the grace waiting for you at the end of this path is not something you earn with intellect, but something you allow through love. Down below in the description, you'll find more about this shadow of intellect. There are also a couple links, one with my email address If you want to connect with me on heart-to-heart conversation regarding your human design or gene key charts, you'll also find a link to my website where you'll learn more about me, what I do, how I do it, and why. And lastly, there are 3 support groups that I host. One is Divination Systems, where you can learn more about these evolutionary patterns of change in more depth and learn how to master all your shadows so they can be integrated but not put in control, so you can obtain the gifts from the practice and embody the graces from mastering it. The next group of support is Emotional Intelligence and Mastery, so you can learn that there's more intelligence than logic. You will actually be able to understand intuitive knowing, discern the emotions, the questions they have to bring, and understand which actions or no action is best because it feels right at that time to proceed. And lastly, the Emotional Trauma Release Group, so you can let go of emotions like fear and anger, sadness, shame, and guilt that are associated with adverse experiences that kept your heart closed and your gut locked up, so that you would only focus on the mind as the only safe place to engage with others. Then realize that by letting go of those emotions and understanding them much better, it'll allow yourself to truly feel and integrate all 3 of your intelligences: the creative, the knowing in your heart, and the inspiration and the graces that await us for the mind. When we balance all 3 intelligences, we feel totally aligned with our purpose and what we're here to serve. Thank you for allowing me to be on this journey with you. Please like or subscribe if you found this very helpful and useful. Bless you on your journey. Namaste, and good life to you all.